Okay, the other night we were learning about Pashush Kolim with the three Sefer Torahs. Anyway, back to the garments on Shabbos, what you're allowed to wear, what you're not allowed to wear.
How about the food for the, you said that you're going to talk to us?
Yeah, closer to Purim, we'll learn the laws of Purim. Anyway, okay, once something is established as a garment, okay, so then even though you really don't need to, so then we learned that you're allowed to wear it. For instance, you have a winter coat, yeah? It's 100 degrees outside, you really don't need a winter coat, but you're wearing it. So the question is, it says, serves no purpose. I mean, really, what are you wearing it for? Nevertheless, the fact that it's an established garment, so you're allowed to wear it. Therefore, you can even wear, let's say, garments on garments or shoes on shoes. Now, certain things you wouldn't be allowed to wear if it would cause ridicule. Like if somebody walks outside in the street with two hats. So people are going to laugh at you. So then what are we afraid of? You're going to take it off and carry it in the street. Yeah, but a winter, that your mom is wearing. It's not something you're going to take off. A winter coat you're not going to take off. As we mentioned the other day, the Rebbe on Shabbos always wore a coat, no matter how hot it was, over the Zaydna Kapotet. So it could be 100 degrees in New York outside with high humidity, but the Rebbe always wore a coat on Shabbos outside. But that was only on Shabbos, not during the week. Why? Kabbalah. No, really, it's just some Kabbalah thing. Okay, so now the question is like this. What happens if you want to wear a jacket over your shoulders without sticking your hands into it? So it was mentioned briefly a while ago. You know, many people walk outside, especially when it's hot outside, and you wear jackets. Years ago, people used to wear hats and jackets. Today, people don't wear jackets. They don't wear hats either. But are you allowed to go outside wearing a jacket over your shoulder without putting your sleeves into it? So basically, it's really an argument in halacha, but the bottom line is that if the custom in the place where you are is to wear such a garment, to wear a jacket like that, then you would be allowed to wear it. If nobody wears such a garment, so then you wouldn't be allowed to wear it. Another thing is a garment that might fly off in the wind, garment that's very loose, that would fly off in the wind, you wouldn't be allowed to wear on Shabbos either, because again, you might take it off and then you're going to forget and you're going to end up carrying it in the street on Shabbos, so you wouldn't be allowed to do it. Now, for instance, okay, they're going to make fun of you, garments that will come off, or other things that, garments, let's say, that you want to show off to people. We discussed this, but it's going to come up now, more details. In the Gemara it says, women are not allowed to wear jewelry on Shabbos. That's what the Gemara says. The reason why they're not allowed to wear jewelry on Shabbos, the Gemara says, because you might bump into a friend, and you're going to show off your jewelry piece that you just got, and then you're going to take it off to show her, and then you're going to forget that it's Shabbos. You're going to keep walking in the street. So the Chum is not that the jewelry piece is not wearing. You're wearing the jewelry piece. That's not a problem. But in time of the Gemara, it says you wouldn't be allowed to wear it because people would take it off, show their friend, and we're afraid they might come to carry it. The Pearl today, in later day poskim, they all permit women to wear jewelry on Shabbos. Number one, they say women today don't take it off to show. They can show it while it's still wearing on, whatever. But the bottom line is today women are allowed to wear jewelry. But you see from that Gemara though, that things that you might take off, like we're discussing about gloves, right? According to many opinions, you're not allowed to wear gloves on Shabbos. Why? Because you'll meet a friend, you'll give him Shalom Aleichem, you'll take off the glove, you know, and then you might forget that Shabbos, you're going to just keep walking with it. What?
You're like in Alaska, and it's negative. You're not going to take off your gloves to say Shalom Aleichem in the middle of the street, though.
So the Alter Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch, when he brings down both opinions about gloves, the Alter Rebbe writes, you should be machmer, and then the Chotz Eagle writes, unless if it's very cold. So yeah, in those places they can wear gloves on Shabbos. Otherwise you could, God forbid, you can be frostbite. You can, God forbid, frostbite your hands. But there wouldn't be a shayla, let's say, wearing earmuffs. You know, they have in New York or Montreal, they have these earmuffs that you wear. That's not a problem because nobody's going to take it off. Nobody's going to take it off to say Shalom Aleichem. Or, so that definitely is not a problem. But again, gloves is a machlekes in halacha if you're allowed to wear. But the Alter Rebbe writes, even if it's very cold, then you would be allowed to wear them on Shabbos also.
Shalom Aleichem, on your property master, can you take your hat off?
First of all, years ago, most people didn't even take off their hats to do Shalom Aleichem. What they did was they would tip their hat. You used to tip the hat. I remember when the Rebbe used to walk home, and a lady would walk by, the Rebbe would, that's the way it used to be. It's called tipping the hat. It was just like a hello, a greeting for something like that. But a hat, we're not afraid. If it's a hat that flies off, let's say somebody wears it for a yarmulke, to wear a handkerchief on their head. You know what I mean? And then they wouldn't be allowed to wear it on Shabbat because it's going to fly off your head and you're going to carry it. So, but those things, okay. Now, what happens if certain things that, let's give you certain examples. You have a jacket, okay? So you have buttons. Now, let's say you have a 3-button suit, so you button one button. Are the extra buttons called carrying on Shabbos because you're not really using them? Or if you have buttons on the sleeves, for design, are you allowed to wear those buttons, those jackets on Shabbos? So that for sure you're allowed to wear. There's no problem, it's part of the garment. Even a belt that goes through the loops, many coats have a belt around it. So then you're definitely allowed to wear the belt, especially if you tie the belt. What happens though, and this is an interesting shaila, what happens if you have a coat or a jacket that you have a belt, okay, and the belt goes through loops, so it's really holding on to the garment, but you don't tie it, you don't buckle it. Can you walk out on Shabbos with a jacket or a coat that has a belt? Again, we're talking about no erev, right, where you're not allowed to carry. And it's loose, you're not even buckling it or tying the belt. So that's a machlekes in halacha. Some poskim say you're allowed to because it's part of the coat. That's just, you're not using it, but that's part of the design of the coat. But other people say no, because if the belt is just hanging loose, it's not doing anything, it's not sewn onto the garment. If it would be sewn onto the garment, it wouldn't be an issue. I'll give you another example. Years ago, or they do it today also, people used to put handkerchiefs, into the, okay, not as much as they used to. That you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Years ago, everybody used to wear a handkerchief in the whatever pocket, top pocket you call it. So now the question is, okay, what happens though if you just put the handkerchief in the pocket, it's not sewn in? Now, is that halachically part of the garment that you can walk out with it? Or because it's not sewn onto the garment, it's just like putting something in your pocket, would that be allowed to on Shabbos? And many people hold you're not allowed to walk out with the handkerchief in a pocket, unless, again, where you're not allowed to carry, unless if it's sewn into the garment, because then it becomes part of the garment. There's a very big machlekes in halacha. A lot of times you have, those shirts. So you have shirts at the bottom, inside they have sewn in extra buttons.
Right. Yes.
At the button of the shirt. So according to many Allah opinions, you're not allowed to go out with such a shirt on Shabbos. The buttons serve no function, and even though they're sewn to the shirt, so many poskim hold, by the way, you're not allowed to walk out with those shirts on Shabbos. A lot of other poskim in most of the world is makel today and that. Most of the many poskim hold, no, it's sewn onto the garment, it's part of the garment, it's bottled to the garment. So therefore you would be allowed to walk out on Shabbos even though the buttons serve actually mamish no purpose. Buttons here, here they serve as a decoration. Right? Here they could serve, you could button it. And if not, it's also decorative. But stam to wear the buttons that are on a shirt that you're not using it all in any way whatsoever, says a machlekes in halacha if you're allowed to go out with them on Shabbos or not.
Price
Huh?
tags, like price.
So price tags, they say it's totally insignificant, and because it's insignificant, so then you would be allowed to wear it. Or sometimes you pick up something from the cleaners, and there's a cleaner's tag. So chatchila is better to take them out before Shabbos, but poskim right now you'll be allowed to wear price tags. They're right. It's better to take them off before Shabbos. Huh? Oh, so that's a big problem, because it's a bigger problem than you think it is. What happens, what Jews do, the Jews just like doing these things, they need a garment for a weekend. So they buy a garment, and then right after Shabbos, their intent is to return it. Right? I mean, not that you're allowed to do it, God forbid, but this is what people do. So you can't remove the price tag, because if you remove the price tag, then you wouldn't be able to put it back on. I mean, you wouldn't be able to return it. So now the question is, are you allowed to wear that on Shabbos in the street? But really, it's a bigger shaila than even that. Because then, if you're planning any material, anything that you buy in the store, that you're planning to return, is completely muksa on Shabbos, it's muksa machzor and kiss. It's a very strong level of muksa that you can't move it for any reason whatsoever. So if somebody technically, let's say, bought a dress, again, let's speak practical language. Women, when shopping, they bought some dresses, okay? And then they today online, right, you buy 20 dresses and you give back 19, or something like that. So now you're giving them back. So now the din is, so they're muksa, because you can't use them, you're afraid to use them, because if you ruin them, they won't be able to give them back.
Also, you want to show it to your friend.
Oh, so now the problem is like this. Oh, so let's say you had in mind the certain dresses you're returning. But it could be to men also. You would buy clothes online, whatever, something online, and you're planning to return it. So the din is, and then now your friend comes to your house on Shabbos, oh, let me show you what I bought, but this I'm planning to return. So the din is, those garments, it's a din in muksa, not in carrying. Those garments are completely muksa on Shabbos. You can't move them for any reason whatsoever. Even if you left them on the bed, and you need the bed to sleep, you cannot move it their normal way of moving things.
No, why?
1 minute, let me just finish the point. So they're completely muksa. So now the question is, if you buy a pair of shoes or a jacket that you're planning to return, right, after you wear it, so now the question is, it might be completely muksa on Shabbos. It's very possible that you wouldn't be allowed, huh?
It's not because you're not afraid to use it. You're using it.
You know, but you use it, yeah, but the point is, it says in halacha, any schayra that you want to return, you're going to be very careful with that garment. So then you're not going to use it stam. I'm telling you, it's a very big shal musmach son kiss. Designation for muktzah is only if you designate it permanently. I'll give you an example. There's a big shaila. Everybody knows that there's a place in Israel called Meir Sha'arim and Bnei Brak and all those fanatic places. So they have a minig, and they wait a whole Shabbos for people to drive by that they can throw stones at them, right? Because they want to give them skila. They're waiting the whole Shabbos that they should be able.
Committing collecting.
First of all, everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about it. Anyway, okay, I'll deal with them. I'll ask them. 1 second. Okay. So now the question is, stones are really muktzah on Shabbos. Stones are real muktzah on Shabbos. So the question is, how did they throw stones on Shabbos? They're religious Jews, or they look religious. So how can they throw stones on Shabbos? So some people want to answer, they designate them. Before Shabbos, they're planning already. That they designate, because like I said, they're hoping people will drive by, they can throw the stones. So, but in Shulchan Aruch that's wrong, because in Shulchan Aruch it says clearly that if you want to designate muktzah, to make it unmuktzah for Shabbos, it has to designate it permanently. For instance, if you have a rock is completely muktzah, and you want to use it as a door stopper, to keep a door open. So then it only is not muktzah if you make it you're always going to keep, not temporarily. So those stones are completely muktzah. What?
It's carrying the
No, they have a native.
I heard that all the stones in Yerushalayim.
breaking something to calm down your anger. That's a particular. It's not.
That's only if you break things, not throw things.
If you're breaking the window.
You're not breaking windows. No. What?
Some states allow that official policy, unconditional returns.
It's the same place that lets the handicap stickers. No, it's the same thing. Do they let it? No, they don't.